Hello, my dear friends. Today, I am excited to share some invaluable tips to help you speak English fluently and confidently. Learning English is not just about knowing the words. It's about expressing yourself without hesitation. This guide will walk you through practical strategies, detailed explanations, and real-life examples to make your English-speaking journey smoother and more enjoyable. Why fluency and confidence matter. Fluency in English allows you to express your thoughts clearly and effectively, while confidence ensures you speak without fear of making mistakes. These two go hand in hand. You may have a vast vocabulary but lack the confidence to use it. Or you may be eager to speak but struggle to form coherent sentences. This script will address both aspects comprehensively. Step-by-step tips to speak English, fluently and confidently. 1. Build a strong foundation. Before speaking fluently, you must strengthen your basics. Explanation. Understanding grammar, sentence structure, and pronunciation forms the backbone of fluency. While you don't need to be perfect at grammar, having a good grasp of basic rules helps avoid common errors. Example. Instead of saying, "He go to school every day," learn to say, "He goes to school every day." Understand verb tenses like past, present, and future. Past, I went to the park yesterday. Present, I am going to the park now. Future, I will go to the park tomorrow. 2. Expand your vocabulary. The more words you know, the easier it becomes to express yourself. Tips to expand. Vocabulary. Learn 5 to 10 new words daily with their meanings and examples. Use a dictionary or apps like Duolingo or Memrise. Read books, articles, and watch English shows. Write down unfamiliar words and make sentences using them. Example, word, serendipity. Meaning, the occurrence of events by chance in a happy way. Sentence. Finding my old friend at the cafe was pure serendipity. 3. Practice. Speaking. Daily. Speaking is a skill that improves with regular practice. Explanation. The more you speak, the more comfortable you become with forming sentences. Start by talking to yourself, then gradually move to speaking with others. How to practice. Stand in front of a mirror and talk about your day. Join language exchange groups or online communities like HelloTalk or Tandem. Record yourself speaking and analyze your pronunciation and fluency. Example, activity. Describe your daily routine. Every morning I wake up at 7 a.m. I brush my teeth, take a shower, and eat breakfast. Then I go to work by bus. 4. Think in English. Switching your thoughts to English is a game changer. Explanation. Many learners translate from their native language to English, which slows them down. Thinking directly in English eliminates this step. How to practice thinking in English. Narrate your actions in English. Example, I am opening the fridge. I am pouring juice into a glass. Ask yourself questions in English. Example, what should I wear today? Use simple sentences at first and gradually increase complexity. 5. Focus on pronunciation and accent. Good pronunciation makes you easier to understand. Tips to improve. Pronunciation. Listen to native speakers through podcasts, movies, or audiobooks. Mimic their speech patterns. Use pronunciation tools like Forvo or YouTube tutorials. Example, practice tongue twisters to improve clarity. She sells seashells by the seashore. How can a clam cram in a clean cream can? Don't fear mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. Explanation. Many learners hesitate to speak because they fear being judged. Embrace mistakes as learning opportunities. Real life. Example. Imagine you say, I go to the market. Someone corrects you. You mean, I went to the market. Now you know the right usage of the past tense. Motivational. Quote, every expert was once a beginner. 7. Use phrases and idioms. Phrases and idioms add flair to your speech. Explanation. They make you sound more natural and less robotic. Examples. Phrases. How are you doing? Can you help me out? Idioms. Break the ice. To initiate a conversation. Piece of cake. Something easy. Activity. Try using these in sentences. Let's break the ice with a funny story. Learning new words is a piece of cake if you practice daily. 8. Engage in active listening. Listening is just as important as speaking. Explanation. Active listening helps you understand different accents, sentence structures, and expressions. How to practice. Active listening. Watch English movies with subtitles. Listen to podcasts like The English We Speak by the BBC. Attend webinars or online classes in English. Example. Activity. Watch an episode of your favorite show and note down 5 new words or phrases you hear. 9. Join English speaking groups. Interaction is key to building fluency. Explanation. Speaking with real people gives you a chance to apply what you've learned and gain feedback. Where to find groups, local language clubs, online forums like Reddit's r/language learning, social media groups for English learners. Activity. Engage in a group discussion about a simple topic like favorite movies or hobbies. 10. Stay consistent. Fluency is a journey, not a destination. Explanation. Regular practice and commitment yield long-term results. Set daily goals and track your progress. Example. Schedule. Morning. Learn 5 new words and their meanings. Afternoon. Practice speaking for 10 minutes. Evening. Watch an English video and mimic the speech. 11th. Imitation and shadowing techniques. Explanation. Imitation and shadowing are powerful techniques for improving fluency and pronunciation. They involve listening to a native speaker and repeating their words, sentences, and even their tone and pace. How to practice imitation. Choose a short audio clip, 30 seconds to 1 minute, from a movie, podcast, or YouTube video. Listen carefully and note how the speaker emphasizes certain words or uses intonation. Pause the clip after each sentence and repeat exactly what you hear. Shadowing technique. Play the same audio clip and try to speak along with the speaker without pausing. Focus on matching their speed and rhythm. Example. Activity. Watch a scene from a movie like Friends or The Office. Listen to a character say, "Could you please pass the salt?" and try to mimic it. Pay attention to their tone and emphasis on words. 12th. Use flashcards and visual aids explanation. Flashcards are effective for learning and remembering new words and phrases. Combine them with images to create mental associations that stick. How to create flashcards. Write the English word on one side and its meaning, or a picture, on the other. Add an example sentence to understand the word in context. Example. Word. Curious meaning. Eager to learn or know something. Sentence. I am curious about learning English fluently. Apps for flashcards. Use tools like Quizlet or Anki to create and review flashcards digitally. 13th. Record and analyze your speech. Explanation. Recording yourself helps you identify areas of improvement, such as pronunciation, grammar, and pacing. Steps to practice. Choose a topic, e.g., my hobbies, and speak for 2 to 3 minutes. Record yourself using your phone or a voice recording app. Listen to the recording and note mistakes or awkward phrasing. Re-record after correcting your errors. Example, activity. Talk about a trip you took. Last summer, I went to the mountains with my friends. We enjoyed hiking and camping under the stars. Analyze. Did you pause awkwardly? Were the sentences clear? Did you use proper tenses? 14. Learn through interaction. Explanation. Interacting with others in English builds your confidence and teaches you real-life conversational skills. How to find speaking partners. Join online language exchange platforms like Italki, HelloTalk, or Speaky. Attend local events like meetups, book clubs, or workshops where English is spoken. Find a speaking buddy who is also learning English. Example. Conversations. Starting a conversation. Hi, how are you doing today? Talking about a hobby. I love reading. What about you? 15. Watch and read simultaneously. Explanation. Watching English videos with subtitles enhances your listening, reading, and comprehension skills. How to practice. Choose a video or show with subtitles in English. Read the subtitles as you listen to the dialogue. Repeat the sentences aloud to practice pronunciation and fluency. Example. Activity. Watch a TED Talk on a topic you like. Pause after every 2 to 3 sentences and repeat them aloud. 16. Learn chunking for better fluency. Explanation. Chunking is the practice of grouping words together as they are naturally spoken in English. It makes your speech sound smoother and more natural. Examples of chunking. Instead of saying, "What is your name?" say, "What's your name?" Instead of, "I do not know," say, "I don't know." How to practice. Chunking. Listen to native speakers and notice how they group words. Practice saying phrases in chunks. 17th. Master common topics and situations. Explanation. Prepare for common conversations to boost confidence. Topics to practice. Introducing yourself. Hi, my name is Alex. I work as a graphic designer. Nice to meet you. Ordering food at a restaurant. Can I have a cup of coffee, please? Asking for directions. Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the train station? 18. Use online tools and resources explanation. Technology offers countless resources to practice English. Recommended tools: Duolingo for vocabulary and grammar practice. BBC Learning English for listening and comprehension exercises. YouTube channels. Watch channels like English Addict with Mr. Steve for fun and interactive lessons. Example. Activity. Use a language app to practice forming sentences like, "The cat is sitting under the table." A. 19. Learn to handle. Difficult conversations. Explanation. Difficult topics, like disagreements or asking for help, can be challenging. Practice polite expressions and phrases. Examples. Disagreeing politely. "I see your point, but I think." Asking for help. "Could you please explain this to me again?" Activity. Role-play scenarios with a friend to practice these conversations. 20. Celebrate small wins. Explanation. Acknowledging your progress keeps you motivated. How to celebrate. Track your milestones like learning 100 new words or completing a 5-minute conversation without hesitation. Reward yourself with something you enjoy, like watching a movie or having a treat. Example. If you successfully order food at a restaurant in English, celebrate by sharing the experience with a friend. Common challenges and how to overcome them. Fear of making mistakes. Solution. Remind yourself that mistakes are a sign of learning. Even native speakers make mistakes. Example. If you say, "He don't like apples," and someone corrects you, now you know it should be, "He doesn't like apples." Limited vocabulary. Solution. Focus on learning high-frequency words and phrases. Understanding accents. Solution. Listen to different accents through podcasts, movies, or news channels like BBC, CNN, or ALJAZEERA. Final tips for success. Be patient. Fluency takes time and effort. Don't rush yourself. Stay positive. Encourage yourself daily. A positive mindset helps you stay motivated. Make it fun. Use games, songs, and quizzes to make learning enjoyable. Motivational. Reminder. Remember, the key to speaking English fluently and confidently is consistency. Keep practicing, and one day you'll realize that English has become second nature to you. You've got this. Good luck, my friends. Keep learning and growing. She. Hello, my dear friends. Today, I want to share with you a story that feels more like a friendly conversation about a common struggle many of us face: how to speak English fluently and confidently. Speaking English can sometimes feel like a mountain we're trying to climb, but trust me, it's not as intimidating as it seems. This story is meant to inspire you, make you feel understood, and give you some practical ideas wrapped in a simple, easy-to-follow narrative. We'll talk about Alex, a young man who once hesitated to speak English, even though he could understand it quite well. Through his journey, you'll see how he overcame his fears and started speaking fluently and confidently. The beauty of this story is that you don't need to memorize any rules or follow complicated techniques. Everything Alex shares is practical, relatable, and most importantly, achievable for anyone. The story is written in a way that feels like a friendly chat. You can imagine Alex sitting across from you, sharing his experiences, struggles, and the small victories that made a big difference. My hope is that by the time you finish reading, you'll feel empowered to take the next step in your own English-speaking journey. The story. Hello, my dear friends. My name is Alex, and today I want to share something that used to trouble me for years, speaking English fluently and confidently. Like many of you, I understood English quite well. I could read books, watch movies, and even write decent emails, but when it came to speaking, oh, that was a completely different story. Let me take you back to the time when this all began. I was in my early 20s, fresh out of college, and ready to conquer the world, or so I thought. I got my first job at a multinational company, and on my very first day, I realized how important it was to speak English confidently. Everyone around me seemed so fluent, and there I was, fumbling over simple sentences. The first few weeks were tough. I avoided speaking in meetings, kept my answers short, and even skipped lunch breaks just to avoid conversations. It wasn't because I didn't know English. It was because I lacked the confidence to speak it out loud. I felt like everyone would judge me for my mistakes, for my accent, or for not being perfect. One day, my colleague Sarah, who later became one of my closest friends, noticed my hesitation. She approached me and said, "Alex, you're smart, and I've seen your work. It's excellent. But why do you hold back when it comes to speaking?" I sighed and admitted, "Sarah, I feel like I'll embarrass myself. What if I make mistakes? What if people laugh at me?" She smiled warmly and said something that changed my perspective. "Alex, everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. The key is to communicate, not to be perfect. Confidence isn't about knowing everything. It's about believing in yourself, even when you don't." Her words stayed with me, and from that day on, I decided to work on my English-speaking skills. Here's how my journey unfolded. At first, I started small. I made it a point to say hello and good morning to my colleagues every day. It sounds simple, right? But even these small steps felt like big achievements to me. Slowly, I started engaging in short conversations, asking about their weekend plans, sharing a little about mine, and even cracking a joke or two. I also made a habit of speaking to myself in English. I would stand in front of the mirror and talk about my day, pretending I was giving a speech. It felt silly at first, but it helped me get used to hearing my own voice in English. One of the biggest challenges was overcoming my fear of mistakes. There was this one time during a team meeting when I accidentally said sheeps instead of sheep. Everyone laughed, and I felt my face turn red. But then, Sarah leaned over and whispered, "Hey, it's okay. At least you tried, and that's what matters." Over time, I realized that making mistakes wasn't the end of the world. In fact, they became my best teachers. I started jotting down new words and phrases I heard during meetings or conversations, and practiced using them in my sentences. I also immersed myself in English as much as possible. I watched English movies with subtitles, listened to podcasts, and read articles on topics I loved. This not only improved my vocabulary, but also helped me understand the natural flow of conversations. One day, during a presentation, I noticed something incredible. I wasn't thinking about my grammar or my accent. I was just speaking. For the first time, I felt confident, and the applause I received afterward was proof that my hard work had paid off. Looking back, I realized that the key to speaking English fluently and confidently isn't about perfection. It's about practice, patience, and persistence. It's about embracing your mistakes, learning from them, and never giving up. As I sat reflecting on how far I'd come, I realized my journey wasn't over. Speaking English fluently and confidently is a skill, and like any skill, it requires constant practice. There were days when I felt proud of myself, but there were also days when self-doubt crept in. One such day was when my manager asked me to represent our team in an important meeting with clients from overseas. This was a big deal, and though I had been speaking English regularly, the idea of addressing a group of professionals made my palms sweat. I called Sarah that evening and confessed my fears. "Sarah, what if I mess up? What if I forget my points or say something wrong?" She laughed softly on the other end of the call. "Alex, do you remember the first time you greeted someone in English at work?" I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Yes, it felt terrifying. "And now?" she asked. "Now, it feels natural," I admitted. "Exactly," she said. "This meeting is just another step in your journey. Prepare well, but don't aim for perfection. Just focus on getting your message across." Taking her advice to heart, I spent the weekend preparing. I wrote down the key points I wanted to convey, practiced in front of the mirror, and even recorded myself to check my pronunciation. I also watched videos of public speakers to learn how they maintained composure and connected with their audience. On the day of the meeting, I walked into the conference room with a mix of nerves and determination. As I began my presentation, I noticed something remarkable. People were nodding along, asking questions, and genuinely engaging with what I was saying. Sure, I stumbled over a few words here and there, but instead of panicking, I smiled, corrected myself, and moved on. By the end of the meeting, I felt a wave of relief and pride. My manager even came up to me afterward and said, "Alex, you did a great job. The clients were impressed with your clarity and confidence." That moment was a turning point for me. It wasn't just about speaking English anymore. It was about realizing my potential and breaking through my own limitations. As time went on, I started helping others who were in the same position I once was. I noticed one of my colleagues, Ravi, sitting quietly in meetings, avoiding eye contact, just like I used to. During a coffee break, I approached him. "Hey, Ravi, I noticed you're a little quiet during discussions. Is everything okay?" He hesitated before admitting, "I understand everything, but I'm scared to speak. What if I make mistakes?" I smiled, recognizing myself in his words. "Ravi, do you know how many mistakes I've made while speaking English?" He looked surprised. "But you're so fluent now." "Because I made those mistakes," I said. "Every stumble taught me something new. Let's work on this together." Over the next few weeks, I encouraged Ravi to participate in small conversations and even role-played situations with him. Seeing his confidence grow reminded me of my own journey and reinforced the belief that helping others was just as fulfilling as achieving my goals. There's one more story I want to share with you. A few months ago, I was invited to give a speech at a community event about overcoming language barriers. Standing on that stage, looking out at the crowd, I began my speech the same way I started this story. Hello, my dear friends. My name is Alex, and I want to share my journey of learning to speak English fluently and confidently. If I can do it, so can you. As I spoke, I saw nods of understanding and smiles of encouragement. Afterward, people came up to me to share their own struggles and aspirations. One woman said, "Alex, your story gave me hope. I've been afraid to speak English for years, but now I feel like I can try." That moment reaffirmed why I started this journey in the first place, not just to overcome my own fears, but to inspire others to do the same. As I wrapped up my speech at the community event, I felt a surge of gratitude. Gratitude for Sarah, who had been my guiding light, for the mistakes that shaped my journey, and for the people who trusted me with their own struggles. But the story didn't end there. Life has a way of presenting new opportunities, and my journey with English was about to take an unexpected turn. A few weeks later, I received an email from a local school. They were organizing a workshop for young adults to improve their English-speaking skills and had heard about my story. They wanted me to lead the session. My first reaction? Panic. Me? Lead a workshop, I thought. I'm not a teacher. I'm just someone who learned through trial and error. But then I remembered Sarah's words. Confidence isn't about knowing everything. It's about believing in yourself. I accepted the invitation, albeit nervously. On the day of the workshop, I found myself standing in front of a room full of eager faces. Some were shy, avoiding eye contact, while others were brimming with questions. Hello, my dear friends, I began, smiling. I'm Alex, and I'm here to share my story with you. But more importantly, I'm here to listen to yours. As I spoke about my journey, I noticed the students gradually opening up. They started sharing their fears, being laughed at, making mistakes, struggling with pronunciation. One girl, Priya, raised her hand timidly. Alex, I want to speak English, but my family thinks it's unnecessary. They say I should focus on my native language instead. How do I convince them? Her question struck a chord. Priya, I said gently, language is a tool. It's not about replacing one with another. It's about expanding your ability to connect with the world. Show them how English can open doors for you, not just professionally but personally. And remember, you're learning this for you, not for anyone else. By the end of the session, the atmosphere in the room had transformed. The students were no longer hesitant. They were excited, motivated, and ready to take on challenges. Some even stayed back to practice speaking with me, forming small groups to share their stories and practice their conversations. After the workshop, I realized how much I enjoyed helping others. Teaching wasn't something I had planned, but seeing those students gain confidence reminded me of my own struggles and how far I'd come. It was then that I decided to start a small community group called Fluent Futures. We met every weekend in a cozy cafe where people from all walks of life came together to practice English. Some were students preparing for exams. Others were professionals aiming to improve their communication skills, and a few were retirees learning for the sheer joy of it. We laughed over mispronounced words, celebrated small victories, and created an environment where no one feared judgment. One of the members, Ravi, whom you might remember, became a co-leader of the group. His transformation was remarkable. He went from avoiding conversations to leading group discussions with ease. One day, a member named Arjun shared something that touched my heart. "Alex, do you remember the first day I came here? I couldn't even introduce myself properly. Last week, I gave a speech at my workplace, and my boss complimented me. It felt like a dream." I smiled, feeling a sense of pride, not just for Arjun, but for everyone who had trusted me with their journey. Years passed, and Fluent Futures grew beyond my wildest dreams. We started online sessions, reached people in different countries, and even collaborated with schools and companies. But through it all, I never forgot where it started. Those small, hesitant steps, the unwavering support of a friend, and the belief that every journey begins with a single word. To this day, I keep a little notebook where I jot down stories from the people I've met. Each story reminds me why I started and keeps me grounded. Because, my dear friends, this journey isn't just mine, it's ours. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: language is more than words. As life went on, Fluent Futures became my passion, and I poured my heart into it. But just when everything seemed to be falling into place, an unexpected twist came into my journey. One that would test not just my confidence in English, but my resilience as a person. It started with an email. The message was from an international organization that worked to bridge cultural and language gaps across countries. They had heard about Fluent Futures and were impressed with the impact it had made. They wanted to feature me in a global conference in London as a keynote speaker. At first, I was overjoyed. This was the kind of recognition I had never dreamed of. But as the reality set in, so did the fear. This wasn't just speaking English in front of a friendly community group or a local audience. This was the world stage. Delegates from different countries, polished professionals, and language experts would be there, listening to every word I said. The fear of being judged, of not being good enough, came rushing back. What if my accent stood out? What if I mispronounced something in front of such a sophisticated audience? I confided in Sarah. What if they see me as a fraud? I asked. Someone who's not qualified to be on that stage? Sarah paused for a moment before replying. Alex, do you remember the first time you walked into a room full of strangers at the community event? Or the first time you coached someone at Fluent Futures? You felt this same fear then, didn't you? Yes, I admitted. And what happened? I overcame it, I whispered. Exactly, she said. This is just another step in your journey. The fact that they chose you means they see something special in your story. Now it's time for you to believe it too. I spent weeks preparing for the conference. I practiced my speech until I could recite it in my sleep. I sought feedback from my peers, worked on refining my accent, and even recorded myself to improve my delivery. But no matter how much I prepared, the nervousness never fully went away. When the day of the conference arrived, I found myself in a grand hall with towering ceilings and an audience that looked like they had stepped out of a movie. As I was introduced on stage, my heart raced, like it hadn't in years. "Hello, my dear friends," I began, my voice shaking slightly. "Today I want to share my journey, a journey of overcoming fear, embracing mistakes, and finding confidence in a language that once felt impossible to learn." As I continued, I noticed something remarkable. The audience wasn't judging me. They were nodding, smiling, and connecting with my story. By the time I finished, the hall erupted in applause. But the real twist wasn't in the speech. It came afterward. As I stepped off the stage, a man approached me. He introduced himself as Daniel, a representative from a prestigious global education organization. "Alex," he said, "your story is inspiring. We're looking for someone to lead a new program that helps underprivileged communities around the world learn English. It's a year-long commitment, and it would mean traveling to different countries to share your methods. What do you think?" I was stunned. This was an opportunity of a lifetime, but it wasn't without challenges. It meant leaving my comfortable life, my friends, and fluent futures for a whole year. That night, I couldn't sleep. I called Sarah. "What should I do, Sarah? This could change everything, but it's also terrifying. What if I fail?" Sarah's voice was calm but firm. "Alex, fear is a part of every big decision. But think about why you started this journey. If this aligns with your purpose, then trust yourself. You've already proven you can handle the unexpected." The next morning, I made my decision. I accepted Daniel's offer, and my life took a new turn. Over the next year, I traveled to villages in India, rural schools in Africa, and underserved communities in Southeast Asia. I met people who reminded me of myself, hesitant, unsure, but full of potential. I taught English, yes, but I also learned from them. Their resilience, their hope, and their willingness to try despite limited resources inspired me in ways I never expected. When I returned home a year later, I was a different person. Not just more fluent in English, but more fluent in life itself. Fluent futures had grown in my absence, with Ravi and others taking the lead, and it now had a global reach. And as for me, I finally understood that fluency isn't just about speaking a language, it's about connecting with people, overcoming fear, and embracing every twist life throws your way. My dear friends, that's the beauty of this journey. Just when you think you've reached the end, life surprises you with a new beginning.